Hello everyone, a warm welcome to Your Image, the only public relations program on television in Africa. My name is Dari Folari. This afternoon, we are looking at the issue of public relations consultancy from the newsroom to the corporate world. My guest is a juggernaut, is a chief, is a veteran journalist. Please welcome Chief Gboyega Okegenro. Chief Okegenro, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Dari. Good afternoon, viewers. I hope you're having a nice weekend all.
Okay. Chief Okegenro is going to help us to trace the history from the newsroom. Like most of us started public relations in the newsroom, and then we moved to the corporate world, and they were back to the newsroom. That's my own trajectory. Chief Okegenro, tell us, for you, how did public relations start? How did it start? Where did you start from?
Well, thank you very much. Personally, I will say for me, public relations started right from my childhood. It was something I always wanted to do.
Okay.
But like the course of individualized role, I veered off first into something extremely different. I had the first degree in history.
Okay.
Then during my youth service, I found my way into Punch newspapers in the early 80s.
Punch newspapers?
Yes, I started as a sports reporter in Punch in 1983, 82, 83, shortly after my youth service. And those are very interesting days. I actually moved from Punch to the Mail newspapers in 1987.
Okay.
From 87, 88, 89, I was in New Breed magazine. Then in 1989, my professor in the university, when I did the PhD in mass communication, Professor Gboyega came and had hunted me to a software magazine, the very popular Pr-Primus magazine those days.
Okay. I
was news editor of Pr-Primus for 3 months, then I was promoted as the editor of the magazine in 1989, I edited the paper till April of 1991.
Right.
Then the move to the corporate world, first era started. The very popular insurance company, IGI, Industrial and General Insurance, was starting, and I was headhunted through another very long trajectory to be the first and the founding corporate affairs manager at IGI. I was hired as corporate affairs manager and special assistant to the then chairman, General Yakubu Gowon.
Okay.
So
amazing.
I was there. But like how it happens to a lot of us journalists, I found myself like a fish out of water in those early years. I couldn't cope with the 9 to 5 mentality, waking up, dressing and tying, knotting ties and all of that. By 1994, I found my way back into a newsroom. I went to join Daily Times as group sports editor.
Okay.
Then I was in Daily Times in 2001.
Right.
Thereafter, I set up my own practice, and till today, we're still running picture communication.
For the benefit of those watching us, tell us, what were the things that you learned, in the newsroom then, that is assisting you now in the corporate world?
The first thing is operational discipline. What I tell all of my colleagues in the organization that I head and run today is that I would wish that every individual, every child being nurtured or being raised in any family has the privilege of a newsroom orientation for a minimum of 1 year.
Amazing.
In every cycle of life. And why do I say this? The newsroom teaches you a lot of things. 3 major attributes, really. You need to understand the ethics of business. Take business as business.
Right.
For instance, like I tell a lot of people, have you ever seen a newspaper in the newsstand any day when the editor just puts on the front line, we couldn't get stories to fight, we couldn't get things to publish? Or you see a television or radio station and the general manager says, we have no news to broadcast today because our reporters went out and drew blanks. So what that teaches you is meeting targets, the discipline of going out, getting to do what you have to do. That's number one. Number two is working strict deadlines. You are in the business, you know how a newsroom operates. Right. No matter how late in the day, how whatever in the day, you must write your scripts, write your copies to meet the deadlines. And the third and the most important thing is teamwork. Whether in a newspaper or a magazine setting or a radio, television, there is no production that you can do unitarily. You cannot, for instance, this program that we're running, there are so many professionals working back home before we're able to project and people can watch us in their homes. So that is those are the core attributes and ingredients of the newsroom life that must guide every professional life, every daily life, every activity, which have also transcended to life as public relations consultants.
Okay, what were the contacts that you made then that has helped you in the corporate world? Because as journalists, we meet people, and then journalists are generally happy-go-lucky people. They are social people, social beings. What were some of these contacts that gave you life-changing opportunities?
If I have to mention contacts, we'll need a whole week of airtime.
Okay, to the major ones.
To share that.
I don't want to IGI. Sorry, engineer Remy Asuni, was he instrumental to your growth?
That was not the Remy.
Okay.
The Remy that founded and ran IGI, unfortunately, he passed very prematurely at 63 years of age. Was my very, very wonderful and amazing Oga.
Okay.
Someone actually that I would call one of my mentors, one of my biggest and most influential mentors, the late Mr. Andrew Remy. I learned a lot from him.
Okay.
Yes, he's a core insurance person, but very, very, very intelligent man, very cerebral. And you cannot work with Remy for 48 hours and not pick stuff and not learn stuff, and he will not impact your life. Those are the kind of people that I will never forget in my life. When you're talking of contacts that I made that translated and changed my life story, late Mr. Remy must number amongst a whole number of them. Another person is my mentor academically, Professor Idowu Akombishoboale. To the glory of God, is still alive and kicking. I met him when I was running my PGD program in mass comm in Unilag in 1988, and he instantly took to me for a lot of reasons. Of course, I was working and I was running full-time program in Unilag, and you will understand what that takes. And my guy was a very strict disciplinarian, and he spared no space for you, no matter how exposed or experienced you were in class. He treated us all as one, as equally, But in the course of the 1 year academic program that we ran together, we took to each other so strongly. And that was why immediately after, when he got opportunity to go on sabbatical in Daily Times, I was the first person he had wanted to come and join him in Prime People, So that's another mentor. So many of them, there are so many of them that I cannot.
Okay, let's look at the work ethics. You can't hunt somebody who is just mediocre. You need to hunt somebody who does his work with excellence. Talk to us about work ethics.
Well, like you alluded to earlier, journalism teaches strict work ethics, and it does not accommodate sentiments or emotions in any way. Be you my son, be you my cousin, even if you are my spouse, as in my wife, once you are my reporter or you are a staff under me, it is purely and strictly business. You must adhere to deadlines, you must write clean copies. If you are not publishable, I will not publish you. I mean, I must make this confession. I hate rewrites. That's why I credit and respect sub-editors a lot. Okay. They sit down behind the scene and clean copies. People who write very poor copies, and you're not the person that will clean it up, and they will come on here and get the credits. People who open this record, they will be seen by Gboyega, Okegenro, not knowing that it was somebody who actually ran and burned the midnight oil to clean those copies. I really love that aspect of the job. So I picked the discipline of working to time, working to deadlines, and treating business as business. And that's still what guides my day-to-day life today. I work and play equally as hard. And that is the orientation in the newsroom. Okay. Like I always tell my staff today, the newsroom is the only place in the world where you have a general editor or an editor who will issue you a query, and 5 minutes after, he will come to your desk and pick boil your pan, eat of it, and you'll be smiling.
Yeah, no hard feelings.
The man will call you the next minute and share a glass of drink with you. I mean, malices are not carried on. The job must go on. Yeah. The production must go on. The show must go on. Those are the slogans in the newsroom. So these are life-changing lessons that we learned in the newsroom.
Amazing. Now, talk to us about your PR consultancy firm, Pr-Primus Communications. How did you set it up?
Well, first and foremost, Pr-Primus was the name, because a lot of people ask me, Pr-Primus was the name that I picked in Atlanta when we went for the Olympics. I went for Atlanta Olympics as Group Sports Editor of Daily Times in 1996, and that's another whole story. God bless the soul of my very good friend and colleague, Akele Ebanji. He was actually the one that gave me that nickname. He was actually the one that gave me that nickname while we were in Atlanta, but that's another story. So as soon as I came back, I began to think of life after the Newsroom, like I've told you off camera. I've always been interested, I've always been primed on doing something of my own in the course of time, and PR was a vision, was where I set my mind to. And that was why, apart from a degree in history, I went out of my way to acquire a PGD in mass communication and an MSc after, so that I could get professionally grounded, apart from the privilege of professional and day-to-day practice.
Right.
And that exposed them to the nitty-gritty of the theory and all other aspects, all the foundational courses of mass communication. So in terms of foundation of Peachtree, yes, we were in Abuja. I would have started from my dining table in my home in Ogba, in Lagos at that time. But I had the opportunity to serve as special assistant to the Minister of Sports in Abuja between 2001 and 2003. And as soon as we ended that tour of duty, after President Obasanjo's first term, the minister that I worked with was the late Mr. Stephen Akiga.
Okay.
And like every young man who had the privilege of living and getting exposed to life in Abuja at that time, Abuja was a vista of opportunities just opening up. It's not a place that is as clustered and as busy. Abuja is looking almost like Lagos or Port Harcourt these days. No. But those days, living and operating in Abuja was like living in any major city in Europe. You were exposed to everything so functional. Everything was to the point. You could step out of your home and in 2-3 minutes, get a cab. Everything is decent, security. There were no challenges. So it was a fertile, very, very open ground for business. The opportunities were there, and I conducted my quick research, and I found out that there was no existing or sitting PR or media or advertising company in Abuja.
Amazing.
I repeat, as of 2002 when I was setting up in Abuja,
okay.
Pr-Primus was the first ever fully structured and fully quartered communications agency in Abuja. So I saw the opportunity, and to the glory of God, we keyed into it, and to the glory of God, we did quite well. We had some wonderful accounts. And with due credit to President Obasanjo, that was the era where Nigeria was opening up to a lot of international opportunities in business. The tourism industry was opening up. The fashion and textile industry was opening up. Agriculture was waking up. The Chinese were just making their penetration into Nigeria. So there are lots and lots of business opportunities that we are privileged to walk into. And we thank God for the little strides that we made as an agency at that time before we now moved back to Lagos.
Yeah, you are watching Your Image, the only public relations program on television in Africa. Yes, Chief Okegenro has been tracing his trajectory from the newsroom to the corporate world. He has told us that he was sensitive. Environmental scanning is a key public relations tact that you need. You need to be sensitive to opportunities. It is often said that people are poor, P-O-O-R, because they pass over opportunities repeatedly. Chief Okegenro, tell us more about your consultancy job. Yeah, how have you been able to make the connections you made while a journalist and now, how are you making it in the corporate world? And how is the communication outfit doing?
Well, you keep going back to my journalism years, and I'm excited about that because perhaps for the benefit of hindsight, giving your own background too, you see, whatever you're able to do today as a person, as a communications consultant person, definitely would derive from the way you had handled your life as a newsroom professional. With every sense of modesty, I thank God that I had a clear mind in terms of what I wanted to do as a journalist while I was working. And I had always had a vision to do something of my own in the course of time. So a lot of contacts that we met in the course of doing sports, by the way, when I was in New Breed, I had the privilege of this rounded exposure to virtually all aspects of journalism, apart from my sports background. When I got to New Breed magazine, I was exposed to hardcore political and development reporting. Then we also had a sister magazine, President. At the time, I was promoted as deputy editor in President magazine. And the President was a strictly business and financial publication. So I had the opportunity of also covering the stock exchange, dealing with banks, and the exposure was so vast. And that's one of the things that helped me fit properly into IGI. I remember at the IGI interview, when I began to field questions, I attended an interview with 2-3 sitting PR consultants or PR managers of existing insurance corporations. But my perspective of a rounded media background, of my sports exposure, and the flair that I was bringing in gave me a little edge. But that's another story. So as I was saying, the privilege of the contact that one made, the kind of resource that you had built internally, were key ingredients that helped when we started our PR consulting. And those are very great years in Abuja. And to the glory of God, we were able to handle some major national projects. To our credit, the last national population census that Nigeria conducted, the credit for the entire media, both print, electronic, TV, and radio, still goes to the name of Pr-Primus Communication. It was a very competitive pitch at that time. So many agencies came from Lagos. And President Obasanjo ensured that the integrity of the process was 100%. It was top-notch. Okay. No lobbying. We went through different phases of screening, of shortlist, and all of that. And then on the day, I was on a Chajangi flight to Lagos. We landed, and my admin guy called me that we just received the letter that we had been awarded, that we won the brief. It was the biggest brief we won at that time, and it was a big celebration. Amazing. So those are moments you cannot forget. Amazing. We also consulted for a lot of major institutions like the Italian embassy, a lot of NI, and a lot of other major institutions in Abuja at that time.
Amazing. The point you are stressing is that for somebody to make it, you know, from the newsroom to corporate world, you need to be highly intelligent. You need to, so that brings me to the issue of reading. It is jocularly said that if you want to hide something for a Nigerian, hide it in a book because they will not read it. So, and what is your advice to PR practitioners listening to you, you know, about giving reading its due?
Well, we use the word reading. I will expand it to use the word learning.
Okay.
Of course, learning is a byproduct of reading, definitely.
Right.
Learning is a bit more expansive, and I think as a personal motivation, every aspiring PR professional or consultant or functionary must develop a habit of reading. You must love reading, you must cherish it, and you must invest in books. A lot of thanks to my dear friend Dele Modu, he taught me very early to invest in books.
In books.
Dele believes so much in books and will not joke with you and his books. So I learned each time we travel, instead of before I buy stuff, I will buy at least 2-3 books. Okay. Until tomorrow, I still invest a lot in books because you need to read, and you must read across board. You must read across disciplines. I proudly describe myself at all times as a multidisciplinary profession because away from sports, media, and PR, there's hardly any field of knowledge that you will not successfully or effectively enjoy me in a conversation with. I may not be that cerebral, I may not be that deep, I may not be that professorial, but I can sustain modest conversations. Well, I can sustain modest enlightened discussions.
That's speaking to the advice that Papa Awolowo gave to journalists. You know, he said that you should know a little about
everything. Yes, yes.
So now, let's talk about public relations. How do you see PR practice in Nigeria now? I mean, generally.
Well, I want to publicly say here to the glory of all Nigerian PR professionals that the industry, though still evolving, has done very, very well. The NIPR as an institution, both at the national and state levels, keep evolving and breaking new grounds, and the sky really is still the limit. For instance, the lady in Ogun State here,
Mrs. Sheumboye.
Sheumboye is doing amazingly well. Each time you feel her on the social media, there are lots and lots of ideas and programs that she's pioneering and pushing out there, just like the people at different levels of the business too. Like I said, it's evolving and it keeps evolving. And thankfully enough, mass communication has been on board in universities and so on learning now. So the sky is the limit. The future is really very bright for public relations practice in Nigeria and Africa.
Well, the downturn in the economy, how is it affecting you? Or are you not affected?
Now you're touching a very sore point.
Right.
Now you're touching a very sore point. I mean, globally, it's a clear fact that the communications business as a whole has been one of the biggest casualties of the downturn in the economy, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. Almost all the accounts have taken flight, and these days, consultants have to be true and true ingenious. We have to continually evolve new ideas, new processes, and bring a lot of ingenuity to remain relevant and remain in practice, and still be able to keep your business going. It's a very tough period, but
okay. There's no way you can have Chief Gboyega Okegenro with you and not talk sports. He has worked with 2 ministers of sports. He has vast experience in everything. How do you see, what's President Bola Tinubu's sports agenda generally? What are you excited with what is happening?
I'm excited and at once not excited. I'm excited in terms of the fact that for the first time in a long time, at the national level, sports is getting some wider and better and more reasonable attention.
Right.
And is happening on a sustainable basis. But I'm not excited because even as of now, we still appear to be papering over the issues. We are papering. We're not.
What are the issues that we're
papering?
The
issues are that we have to invest in infrastructure. We have to invest in education. Education of the coaches that will train the athletes. Okay. Education of the coaches that will understand methodology of coaching. Much more importantly, identifying and recognizing the fact that sports is as important as business, as finance, as oil in Nigeria, as tourism. It is a whole big industry that we must pay much more serious attention to. And the first place to start, you'll be shocked to hear this, that we must sit down, get a group of technocrats who understand the fact that this thing has to be institutionalized to be a part of the curriculum of the education system. Okay. Go and check the system in major countries doing well in Europe and in America. Sports at the primary level up to the tertiary is engraved in the educational curriculum, is engraved in the educational system of a development. It's part of development. It's part of development.
Okay, very quickly, the establishment of the National Sports Commission, yes. How does that grab you?
It's still part of the papering.
We're still papering over.
Yeah, it's still part of the papering.
Okay.
For instance, even the NSC establishment has the appropriate legislation been done at the National Assembly. This area we are going to, you need 3 editions of a program to handle it.
To unpack it.
There are things that are very deep and that some of us feel very, very serious concern about. I'm not emotional about this. We need to go back to the National Assembly, get appropriate legislation done.
Right, back in.
Up until this time, the NFF is running, quote and unquote, illegally. You can quote me. Because the act established in the NFA is there.
Okay, one final word now to practitioners who are watching you. What's your advice to practitioners generally about our profession, their profession?
Well, public relations is a global profession. Public relations is life. And continuous education is very key. No matter what level of the practice or consultancy that all of us professionals are, we must keep evolving and must keep learning. Especially in these days of artificial intelligence, in these days of technology, a lot of things are evolving. A lot of things, for instance, in the days when we were in school, a lot of the things that we studied are no more relevant. You cannot work with all those communication theories that we learned. Things have evolved so fast. And that's why the young people we're employing in various companies today, they have different orientation, different mentality, different ideas. You really have to be on your toes to catch up with them. So all of us will put on our thinking cap and know that we're in a learning space. All of us are learners, and we will continue to learn and get better. Okay. To get better, we need to keep learning.
We continue to learn. We learn from cradle to grave.
Definitely.
Learning is continuous. There you have it, your image for this week. My guest has been Chief Gboyega Okegenro, and he has told us what we need to do to transition from the newsroom, those of us still practicing, to the corporate world. I would like to thank you very much, sir, for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much, Derry. It's a great program. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Until next week, when we come your way again with a fresh edition. This is yours sincerely, Dari Folarin, saying bye for now.